A family man who witnessed the uncreated light. In a bustling American city, surrounded by the humdrum of modern life, there lived an Orthodox doctor. Though he identified with his faith, he wasn't particularly religious. His life was busy, and spiritual discipline often took a back seat. He didn't strictly observe the fasting days of Wednesday and Friday, nor was he a regular at church. For the most part, he lived what could be described as an ordinary life, until one evening when the extraordinary happened. On that fateful evening, as he knelt to pray in the quiet of his apartment, something incredible occurred. Without warning, the heavens opened up. A brilliant divine light poured into the room, flooding him entirely. In that moment, the ceiling of his apartment seemed to disappear, and with it, the 40 floors of the building above him. He was enveloped by the uncreated light, a radiant, otherworldly glow unlike anything he had ever seen. Time seemed to stand still. He stood immersed in the presence of this light for what felt like an eternity, though he could not say how long it truly lasted. This was no mere vision, no passing dream. It was real, profoundly real. He had encountered the uncreated light of God, a grace so rare and so extraordinary that it left him in awe. But why him? What had he done to merit such a divine blessing? The doctor was a family man, an ordinary individual trying his best to navigate life's complexities. He was married and had children. His wife, however, grew increasingly dissatisfied with her role as a homemaker. "I'm sick and tired of housework," she often complained. "I want to go out for a walk every now and then." Though she wasn't employed, she began socializing with her friends and soon pressured her husband to accompany her on nightly outings. Wanting to keep the peace and provide stability for their children, he reluctantly agreed. Over time, her requests became more demanding. She asked to go out with her friends alone, leaving him at home. He acquiesced, hoping to preserve their fragile relationship. Her demands didn't stop there. She insisted on taking vacations by herself. And though he had reservations, he gave her the money and the car to support her independence. Eventually, she demanded a separate apartment where she could live on her own and entertain her friends freely. He tried reasoning with her. "How do you think our children feel about all this?" he asked, hoping to appeal to her sense of family. But her mind was made up. She wanted her freedom, and she was unyielding in her demands. In the end, she took a large sum of money from him and left, claiming she felt too confined in their marriage. Years later, the doctor received devastating news. His wife had fallen into a life of prostitution in the clubs of Athens, Greece. The revelation shattered him. He grieved deeply, not only for her, but for the brokenness of her soul. He considered searching for her, but he felt lost. What could he say to her? How could he help her find her way back? In his anguish, he turned to prayer. Kneeling before God, his heart poured out, raw and sincere. "My God," he prayed, "help me. Tell me what to say or do to save this soul." His heart was not filled with anger or judgment, but with profound sorrow and compassion. He bore no malice, no sense of wounded pride, only a deep and aching desire for her redemption. It was in this moment of utter humility and selfless love that the miraculous occurred. The heavens opened, and God's uncreated light descended upon him. The divine light flooded him, overwhelming him with its brilliance and grace. This was the kind of experience that even those who dedicate their lives to monastic prayer might never witness. Yet here, in the middle of a noisy, distraction-filled city, in the heart of a man burdened by sorrow, God revealed his presence. God looks not at outward appearances or the rigid observance of religious rituals, but at the heart. When he sees humility, love, and a sincere desire for the salvation of others, he responds with boundless grace. Despite the doctor's imperfections and the worldly circumstances surrounding him, he was graced with an encounter so divine that it defied all understanding. Glory be to God. If this story touched your heart, remember to like, subscribe, and share.